Good morning, everyone. It is More Good News Wednesday. I hope you have as much good news as I have. And it's only 8 a.m. Pacific time. More Good News Wednesday. Bring me more good news. We're here on Wednesdays, just rocking and rolling. Let's bring the questions. Let's bring the guests. Let's all learn what we are doing. So very, very good. I just realized that I have the wrong notes, but that's good for me today. Hold on one second. Let me go grab my notes. We'll pin this up here. David at Meltzer.com. Rocking and rolling. Anyway, I'm back. Don't worry. Just have somehow wrong notes in front of me, but I'm good with that. Anyway, let's take some questions. It's More Good News Wednesday. Here we go. How do you determine whether you're on the right path? With your 5 daily practices, you got to know your path and have faith in order to determine if you're on the right path. So how do you know your path and how do you have faith? Number one, knowing your path is a requirement of every day taking inventory of your what. What do I want today? Personally, experientially, giving and receiving wise. If I know what I want, I at least then establish the past. See, you can get from San Diego to Maine at night just seeing in front of you 3 feet. If you can see in front of you just 3 feet, you can get to Maine from San Diego all at night. So it could be dark. It doesn't matter. That's because you need to know your what. Then it makes it easier if you know your who can help you and who you can help. If you know someone that's already there, they can give you directions. They also can help you with the how. Paying the dummy tax, giving you the situation knowledge, adding to the relationship capital, you paying attention to and giving intention to the direction in which you want to go. You then are able to prioritize, which creates the efficiency, effectiveness, and statistical success that you want upon your path. And then you can apply your why. See, faith is a determinative of whether or not you're on the correct path or the best potential path, the path towards your potential. So utilizing all of those mechanisms, the what, the who, the how, the now, applying your why, you can determine if you're on the correct path, the path of your potential. Not what other people want, not what's missing, not what you don't want, but the path of your own potential. So go ahead. If you want those 5 daily practices, I will give them to you for free, David at Meltzer.com. Go ahead, email me for the 5 daily practices. I also, if you want my book, ebook, audiobook, if you want me to sign a copy of my book, send it to you, pay for shipping and the book. Not a problem. You got to reach out and ask for help, though. David at Meltzer.com. Look forward to helping you. Thank you for a great start on what we are doing and the day. Very, very good. All right. Rocking and rolling here on... Let me see here. Next up, almost 8:05. Here we go. Next question. How to overcome fear of posting your content, especially the first one. Woo, that is frightening because people will laugh at you, scoff at you, make fun of you, or even worse, nobody will show up. But that's okay. All you need is 2. 2 turns to 2, turns to 2, turns to 2. Go ahead. Understand the exponentiality of 2, compound interest, exponential growth as we get it going on here. So I'm looking for my notes on Coach Williams here. We're rocking and rolling. All right. Sorry for More Good News Wednesday. We got Coach here. Give me one more minute. We'll take one more question where we're at. I do not know where or why. Do not have my IG notes sent to me, the right one. So we're going to have to go. Mikey, you're going to have to help me here. Did not get what I need. Unfortunately, I'm trying my best to find it. Coach is here. I'm going to try this one more time. No, did not get it. All right. We're rocking and rolling. And all right, here we go. Sorry about that. What type of emotions do you feel when you meditate? Center, neutrality, peace. I think peace is the best description of the energy and motion that I have, the ability to allow it to come into fruition. So we got Coach here, Coach D in the house, our mental health coach. Right, let's bring him on. I am freewheeling it today on More Good News Wednesday. There we go. There she is. Coach D in the house.
Yes.
I
Many, many
love it.
blessings. You had the right energy about it. I love it.
Of course, it's all about the energy in motion, our emotions. And you know that I had Michael Phelps in the studio yesterday. We launched a new studio, and Darren Waller, Michael Phelps, Donnie, everybody has these mental health concerns. All have suffered from the challenges that everybody is challenged with. It's just how much time are we going to spend in the wrong mental space? What lessons have you learned about keeping the correct perspective according to your own energetics and genetics, right? I think one of the biggest things that I've learned, because I was born with the happy gene, is, I go around when I was younger, dude, why can't you just see the glass half full? All you got to do is see the half. Come on, man. You're thinking, well, if you're genetically and energetically, just like I'm not energetically and genetically disposed to dunking a basketball, other people are the same way with happiness. They just aren't born with the same capacity. We got to work on it. What are some of those lessons to help people, regardless of where you are genetically or energetically?
Well, I think it really goes back to, you talked about this earlier, but knowing where you are, right? I used to get told a lot, everything's a joke to you. And it was because I could literally find the humor in anything. I mean, it didn't work in romantic relationships, but
Yeah,
I,
I wouldn't want to date you if I take off my clothes and you start laughing at me. That's
well,
not good.
per se. But no, in all seriousness, really being able to find the joy. That would be the first thing. Having an intention for joy. And that's really what the Athlete Project is about. One of our pillars is normalization. How do I normalize this feeling of peace and joy? And then the second thing is, as my mother would say, she'd say all the time, Neek, just breathe. Just breathe. Breath is so powerful, and it's something that we all share as living creatures, and the ability to inhale, exhale, stop, and be okay with the moment in between. That's where peace is found, right? If you are into religious beliefs, they say peace, be still, right? So really understanding that peace is about taking that time, that confidence, that uncertain just uncertain feeling, if you will, and run with it and just breathe through it, and allow yourself to really surrender to the one thing you cannot live without: air.
Yeah, it also allows, I was talking to Gary Vaynerchuk about this because he frames everything. If things are going wrong in his life, he frames everything down to its core. And one of the things, I have a stop, drop, and roll technique that says, when I identify a trigger of my ego, anxiety, fear, emotions that separate us and need to be right, offended, inferior, superior, angry, frustrated, worried, all these things that put us into a bad disposition, accelerate us in the wrong direction, simply stop, like you said, and then drop to breathe. But one of the things I didn't realize in this conversation was that when we breathe, not only do we find that peace and allow the greatest source of power, light, and love to come through us, but it also is the ability to frame where we're at. See, most people's problem, when you talk about finding the light, the love, and the lessons and everything, you call it humor, right? Humor is one of the greatest forms of truth because it's a joy. And so to be able to find the light, the love, and the lessons, what's remarkable about breathing is not only does it put us at center, at peace, allowing us to connect with and through the greatest source, but it frames our life that it does not allow us to take for granted what other people are wishing for. And with COVID and the pandemic, it's easy to frame the value of breath, right? Because some people are struggling every second to breathe. They're every second, their intention and attention, their family's attention and intention is on one single breath. Are they going to be able to breathe? And if we can live our lives to frame it with understanding, we can't take for granted that which other people are wishing for. And to frame our lives in center, at peace, in our potential, that's where I believe that happiness, that joy, our potential can be found. One of the other conflicts that people have, Coach, is they don't understand the blend of persistence and patience, right? And because I'm a bad MFer, man. I do not quit. I was born like a little mule. I must have been one in my past life because I'm just going to keep on trudging up the little train that could, the Rocky, the Rudy, everything's within me. I watch those that resonates, but I'm also have learned to combine that fierce ferocious with the Buddha, with the ability to stay at peace. How do you explain to people blending? Because I can tell you're a ferocious Buddha like me. How do you blend that ferociousness with the peace of the Buddha?
Authenticity, man. Like, I'm gonna talk to you like you from Brooklyn.
I like
It's
it.
really being yourself. If I had to talk about the two people that influenced me the most, it would be Muhammad Ali and Maya Angelou. You know, two people who feminine, masculine, arrogant, soft, gentle. You know, being able to really be fluid in your expression. And, you know, that brings me back to my mom's, where, you know, my mom said a lot. And, you know, going back to what you said in terms of breathing, she was a chronic asthmatic. And she was sort of like, you know, Mr. Miyagi, wipe on, wipe off. You come to her with a major problem and she tells you like 3 words and says she loves you. What? Like, and I'll never forget, you know, I came in the room, I was dealing with a situation with my lady, and my mother looked at me and she said, well, baby, the monsters you fight are the ones you create. Now close my door. And I was like, huh? And, you know, I really learned in that moment the balance, right? Suffering, and this goes back to Buddhist teaching, suffering is impermanent, but it's also something that's self-inflicted. And so if we can learn what I've had to learn immensely with myself, my suffering, even my story, is that balance of like, I'm going to be authentic in this moment so I can see all of myself. Damo is very loud. Dominique sometimes is very quiet and reserved. Coach D is very intense, but also very nurturing. And so I think when we are able to put ourselves in a position where we can express ourselves fully, authentically, and honestly, then we're able to kind of tread those waters. You understand what I'm saying? With an ebb and a flow. I often think that, you know, just being a basketball coach, we want identity, right? We want an identity that can be validated, that we can go out in the world and people will respect us. That's why I became Coach D. For many years, people didn't even know my real name. And I had to learn that, no, seriously, like for someone to say Dominique, I always thought I was in trouble. And I grew up when someone said my whole name, I was in trouble. And so I created this identity that was respectable, that I could go in the world and be proud of. And I think right now, a lot of people are dealing with that. They're navigating, how do I create a person that not only that I'm proud of, but that I can go out into the world and be successful. And I think the number one way that you do that is authenticity. Because what I am learning now is I am attracting, right? I'm in the space where I'm allowing. I am attracting the things that work not only for me, but for my good in ways that I can't even foresee. And I think that for a lot of people right now, there's such this hustle and bustle to return to something without recognizing that it was left for a reason.
Right.
You know, so again, with that authenticity piece, we can now allow ourselves to shed the people, shed the identities, shed the BS, if you will, that doesn't really serve us, and really be open to attracting and surrendering to the things that will move us forward.
I feel the exact same way. And I also have learned this identity daily, knowing those different personalities of the ferocious Buddha, the different personalities of Dominique, Doma, Coach D. And since my name starts with D, you know, I'm in the same boat. I'm Mentor D, Coach D, Executive D, David, Dave, Davita, all the different things and energies that I carry. You know, I probably cried more than anybody on stage or anybody on than anyone, and I am okay where I would have been years ago. And I found that through understanding the hypocrisy in myself, that I cannot want what other people want from me. I can't want what's missing or what I don't want. And it's okay daily to say I changed my mind because I learned something. See, I think too many people, they sit there, they're like, oh, you said this yesterday. Well, you know what? That's because I don't know what I don't know. I talk about 2 things, and I'm going to finish up with this. Ignorance. I think there's 2 types of people: ignorant people and ignorant people, because none of us know what we don't know. And so we're all ignorant. The difference is there's ignorant, humble people like you and ignorant, arrogant people. But even furthermore, I've learned that some of the most ignorant, arrogant people, people that don't know what they don't know but pretend like they do, are the people that care most about us. And that becomes the most challenging thing, is that love, the ultimate truth, when somebody cares so much about you that they want to protect you, they want to keep you safe, they want only the best for you, they almost establish a type of arrogance that says, I know what's best for you. And they don't allow other people to allow, because they're so afraid for them that you're going to be hurt. See, when we're afraid that our children and the people closest to us will be hurt, it's our problem, not theirs. And we project that onto other people, and we limit them. We limit them from expressing their light and being themselves. How can people pursue their own potential, not want what other people want, what's missing and what they don't want? What's the best thing someone can focus in on to shut out the people who are laughing, scoffing, make fun of, and telling them what's best for them?
Ooh, what I'm going to say is going to shock the heaven out of a lot of people. But I'm going to say death. Death is the surefire way to really break through, because that's not love, right? We talk about discernment, right? Understanding that love is about freedom and nothing else. Maya Angelou, I love quotes. She says, oh, you know, she had said on Soul Sunday with Oprah, she talked about her mother and her mother dying. And she said, you know, I free you from my ignorance. And so when we talk about love, unconditional, eternal, universal, we're talking about a condition in which one is free to be free and to allow and create the space for others to do the same. That is love. Love is in that space, right? It's now the space where someone is allowed, but then also admired for their going against the grain, their being different, for their best looking different. Love is that curiosity, right? And so I think the best way for people to absorb that type of energy is to remain curious and to understand freedom, what it looks like for them and for someone else, because that could be very different, right? Blackness is different. To be an American, that looks very different for a lot of people, right? I'm a mental health advocate. I'm a basketball coach, and I'm sitting on a live with my fitted on, right? For me, it's about understanding what needs to die. My mother, my father, they passed away by the time I was 22. And in that, I had to struggle, I had to strive. But 13 years later, right, I can look back and say, because of those deaths, I was able to understand mental health, mental wellness. I was able to understand that I had hygiene systems that were not healthy, that there were hypocrisies and conditions that I put on myself, projecting onto others about love, that were not healthy. You know, still moving through abandonment, still moving through trust, right? That is something that is a journey that will be forever. It will be forever. You know, you talked about, I do want to say this is Mo.
Damo, thank you.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
so, you know, for me, when I was Damo, I used to be like this. It was a protection mechanism. And, you know, D was cool. And I could, you know, I was professional. And, you know, Coach D was all for the kids. I had to learn that all these people in me, they weren't connected. They weren't connected. And I think for a lot of people, the disconnection starts at home. If we are able to start at home with our conditions, with our hypocrisies, with our discomforts, if we're able to be authentic and kill those things. If we can sit down and say, yo, 5 years ago when I did that, it didn't turn out so well. I might not want to do that. You got to kill that part of yourself. You have to be okay with death and understand that death is rebirth. The only glory in death is to be prepared for rebirth. And so I think that is how you do it.
I love it. And part of that love is the appreciation of those differences within ourselves, all the different nuances of who we are and the different energies that we utilize in order to effectuate growing, learning, accelerating in this journey, this embodiment that we're given. What a joy, Coach D, Dominique, Dama. Is that how I say again?
No, Da,
Da,
Mo,
Mo,
Da,
Damo.
S.
Damo, all the aggregate of who you are, the blessing that you are to everyone. Where can people find you? You got to reach out. This is an incredible person to learn from. Wise beyond her years, a beautiful soul. Please come back and join me. We need more conversations with you. What do you say?
Yeah, definitely. So very quickly, people can find me at getfitflyright.com. And so what I have here, I'm just going to put it up in the screen right quick, is the mental health training petition. Very quickly, what I'm looking to do, as you see the 533 hat, that is a breath meditation I designed specifically for athletes. But more importantly, coaches need training. Coaches are on the front line. They're the first ones that our students and athletes go to. And so it is super important that coaches have this type of training. In sports specifically, we have too many coaches that understand mental toughness without understanding the intricacies of mental health and wellness. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking to get 10,000 signatures so that way we can advocate and go down and knock on some doors and say, hey, we need to mandate that the PSAL, the NCAA, and high school leagues across the country are making sure and in mandating that their coaches are getting mental health awareness training. So that is where you can find me at Get Fit Fly Right, at Get Fit Fly Right. You can hashtag Just Breathe. You can also hashtag 533 meditation. David, I appreciate you immensely. I would love to come back anytime you have me. I'm gonna pull up.
All right, we're gonna post that. Let's get all 500,000 of my followers here. Let's get that petition filled out today. Let's get all 10,000 people on there. So let's make it happen. Let's repost it, tag it, and hashtag it. I'll put my team on it. Thank you so much, Coach D. Take care.
Many blessings.
Blessings to you. What a gem. There we go. The real deal. Get Fit Fly Right. Go ahead, everybody. Let's make it happen. We got a petition to fill out. The mental health petition. Nothing better. I love coaches teach mental toughness, but they are ignorant on the mental health that's necessary to grow, to learn, to be happy, like my friend Do Me. Doma. Man, I'm weak. Anyway, she's wonderful. Let me know who's coming on next. I'm going to take a question as we get here going. Thank you for your patience, everyone. My schedule and notes are incorrect, so I'm flying right myself. How is Vegas in the new studio? I want to tell you that Blue Wire does it right. Blue Wire Studios, they have licensed our show, Da Mo. There we go. Thank you, Marilyn. Anyway, new studio in the lobby of the Wynn there, right off the lobby. It's incredible. We had incredible people in there yesterday. Unbelievable. Darren Waller, the great Michael Phelps, his wife Nicole, so many other people, Paul, Donnie. Great to have you guys there as well. And I want to thank Kathy Cardenas. Yesterday, I was a miss and did not give my girl the cred she deserves. She is the unbelievable PR person that we've worked together for years, and I just want to give her a big hug and thank her for always looking out for what's best for me and Donnie and Darren. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And Danica Patrick, by the way, all my favorite energies. Take a deep breath. Thank you so much. Shebang show, looking good there. All right, here we go. How important is focus for achieving goals? Well, what you pay attention to and what you give intention to is and will be the coincidences that occur. Maria, we are bringing you on. Here we go. We're going to go live with Maria Went. Here she is. It's a powerful day today. Some great, oh, there she is. Hi.
Hey there. How are you?
I'm great. Did you get a chance to see Coach D?
I did. I just watched the whole thing. It was great.
Yeah, she was awesome. Well, give me a little bit of background about yourself, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm a little short on my notes this morning, so I apologize for not the appropriate introduction. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
No worries. Well, thank you for having me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm actually a business coach for female entrepreneurs. So I show female entrepreneurs how to get clients.
You know what? There's two things I want you, because I bet there's another portion. I tell people all the time, it's two components: getting a client and keeping a client. And I've heard through the grapevine that you're really good at both. How important,
well, thank you.
And what are the differences of getting a client, and how do we keep those clients when we get them?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I've actually been reading a lot about this because I think most entrepreneurs' initial instinct is to get that client. You know, they're hyper focused on making the sale. Maybe they're just getting started. They need the money. They're trying to quit a 9-to-5 job. And so I find that most entrepreneurs are very hyper focused on making the sale. But what I've learned over the years is that if we can actually put our focus more on keeping the client, what we do is we really are able to leverage referral-based marketing, which is the only kind of marketing that grows exponentially, right? If I have one customer and they bring a customer, now I have two, and then I have three. versus, paid advertising, organic marketing. It's very one-on-one. But with referral-based marketing, it really grows very exponentially. And so I teach my customers that it's actually much more important to focus on an offer that actually solves problems, which will keep your customers sticking around and bring new ones. So both important, but most people, I think, miss focusing on the second one as much as they should.
Yeah, it seems to me, whether you're a man or a woman, that we're always selling to people, especially early stage entrepreneurs, instead of selling through them. So I encourage people to find those open minds and not spend so much time on a completely aligned avatar if they have a closed mind, thinking that somehow we're going to re-engineer or change that mind, but instead looking for that sponsorship of if the open-minded person knows other open-minded people, or even better, if they can help them themselves and know that. One of the nuances of you as a specific mentor for women entrepreneur is you're much more than just a mentor. And when I say that, I have to define kind of what I see in what you do and how you do it. One, a mentor is someone that gives the best of themselves. A coach is someone that brings the most out of the other person. And then the thing that makes you so unique is that you're a great teacher. See, a lot of people are just mentors. They get up on the internet and stand in front of cars they don't own and houses they don't own, and they give the best of themselves, the best show that they can give. And they're, mostly motivational. Very few are inspirational. I mean, they're not going to get you there. But then you have good coaches as well. And they may not know as much as those mentors that stand up, on TV and on the internet telling you everything they know, but they bring the most out of you. I had a great about me or my position, but he brought the most out of me. But it's very rare that someone's such an eloquent teacher that you're able to explain things and break it down like you did in my question. Do you see yourself as all three? And if so, how have you been able to articulate so well and organize so well, step by step, what these people should do in order to be successful, especially at something as difficult as being an entrepreneur?
Well, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. I think I do identify as a coach and a teacher. I think mentor comes with age. I'm very young, and so I don't like to
experience, not age.
Well, that's true. That is true too. That is true too.
Yeah,
that is very true.
In esports, I don't know one mentor that's over 30. So in esports, right, it's experience.
That's true. That's a good point. That's something for me to think about. But I for me, it all starts with truly servant-hearted leadership. The reason I'm able to break down and teach so well and explain a concept so simply, which we know is very hard to do. It's hard to take a complicated topic and break it down, make it bite-sized so somebody can walk away and implement what you teach. That's not easy. But the reason I'm able to do that, I believe, is because I've become obsessed with my market. I know female entrepreneurs through and through. I know every pain point they struggle with. I know every sticking point. I know every spot where they get stuck as they, are on their 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year journey. And so because I know them so intimately, so deeply, so thoroughly, I'm able to think through how they think and articulate it back in a way that's very easy to understand. And that's, for me, what I'm about. I'm about putting that time in to really understand my market and serve my market in a way that actually solves their problems.
And what's one of the top challenges that female entrepreneurs do face?
It's a belief in themselves is specific to female entrepreneurs, but more generalized, I think this is something all entrepreneurs struggle with, which is just sticking with it, playing in the game for longer than a year. Most entrepreneurs, they don't make it past 5 years. And so one of the core things I try to model is perseverance. Just sticking with something for longer than 2 seconds, because it's not going to work right away. It just doesn't. But if you persevere over time, you're successful.
I couldn't agree more with an individual statement than that. That's why, I am old and experienced. So I tell people the key in success of all entrepreneurship is to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your own potential. The only reason you fail is when you quit. And it's so difficult, as you know, to see how exponential growth and compound interest works. That 99% of the people quit before they're 90% of the way there, because it takes about 90% of the effort to get to 25% of the result. Then it starts doubling to 50% of the result. It's even more frustrating that another 99% of the 1%, male and female, quit when they're before they get to 50%. And they're also close because the next double takes them to 100, the next double to 200. So I suggest people also study Einstein, the rule of 72, compound interest, exponential growth, and acceleration, which will allow you to create that worthiness. And for my last question, you talk about worthiness, and there's every reason in socioeconomic biases that exist, especially in America, where entrepreneurship was born, where entrepreneurship is leading the way, for females to feel unworthy. But it's at a core is that we all don't believe I am healthy, happy, wealthy, and worthy. And we have to shift the paradigm to understand what we are, that we give meaning to what we see, but also teach how to clear the interference between us and what we already are. For women, they have far more interference. They're born with parents who are programmed in a certain way to treat most women, but you see, I'm 53. So when I see successful women like Shelley Zallis and Janice Horroyd and Kim Perrell, and there is a common denominator, Cindy Eckert, the billionaire women that I know, there's one, and Joni Rogers, Conte, all of them have strong parents that since they were born, were telling them, you're worthy, you're healthy, you're wealthy, you're happy. Don't listen to anybody, especially those boys. They're ignorant and arrogant. Don't listen to them. How can you mature these women the same way after they've been programmed for years? And I'm sure you have many women that they have a mindset that's just been programmed that they're not worthy.
Yeah, it's so interesting. For me, I'm such a practical person. I find, and my students find, that one small win creates another win and creates another win. But that first win is where so much confidence comes from. It can be the tiniest one in the world, but you started your business and you got that first baby win. Now you're in it. Now you can start to see the fruit of your labor. And so I find that there's so many mindset coaches and mindset experts and therapists and counselors. What I focus on is helping them get that first real win, because that keeps them in the game. And I believe that entrepreneurship is a process of self-development. I don't know a single successful person that isn't deeply committed to their personal growth. So what that looks like for you to work through my beliefs around I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this, this is for other people, that is going to be very personal to you, in my opinion. It's something you should commit to, because all entrepreneurs, I believe, are very committed to their success. Where I come in is the very practical business side of things. Like, here's how we're going to get you that first win, that second win, that third win. So your own confidence in yourself starts to develop. And then you realize, I can do this. I'm winning. I'm being successful. So that's where I come in.
And you come in very strong and very knowledgeable. I disagree with you. I also think you are a great mentor, even though you're young. I think you have great situational knowledge, along with experience, in order to effectuate that. I will say one thing. One thing I love is there's so many coaches today, I call them Barney coaches. They're big purple dinosaurs. You pay them money and they sit there. I love you. You love me. Yeah. Nobody makes any money. And then we end up quitting because we run out of money because nobody's making any money. I love that you're like me. There's one thing that's a huge empowerment for everyone is, are you capable of articulating a value to exceed what you're asking for? And if you are, through a quantitative analysis, real hard quantitative values that you're teaching, pragmatic things to do every single day so you can enjoy that consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. You're doing great work. I encourage everyone to reach out to me. Thank you so much for joining me. Where can people reach out and sign up to work with you?
Yeah, thank you again for having me. Really simply, really quickly, just follow me on Instagram at maria.wendt. It's W-E-N-D-T, so I'm German. It's a silent D in there, Maria Wendt, W-E-N-D-T. I think I've been tagged in the comments, so yeah.
Yeah, you've been flattered, tagged, and complimented in the comments. Everybody's a big fan of yours, and big shout out to everybody there. Thank you so much, Marie, and I look forward to doing more with you. Keep up the great work as a mentor, a coach, and a teacher.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Maria.Wendt, check her out. Amazing young soul. God, they're powerful women today. I am so happy. Who did I see on here that just came on? I saw Nick. Oh, Wags. What's up, buddy? Is Wags up next? Is that what I'm doing? Help me out. My notes are we there? That is hilarious. Barney reference. That, yeah, perfect. All right, my boy. I was hoping to see him at my new studio yesterday. He does so much work in Vegas. This guy, have you ever heard of an entrepreneur? There he is, the entrepreneur. I have a new category of entrepreneur. I've been talking about entrepreneur so much, I now have to talk about entrepreneur. The unbelievable Aaron Wagner, the Wags. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? How are you?
Did you see my quick reference to Coach Echeverry when I was talking about the coach that brought the most out of me?
I did. Sorry, I just jumped on the last 5 minutes here, so.
Yeah, we were talking about being a mentor, a coach, or a teacher. Anyway, Aaron is an entrepreneur. He has a mindset that is beyond what I can teach. It's one that just has evolved. He's 39 years old, multi-millionaire, if not close to a billionaire. I don't need to disclose how much money he makes, but he does it with a purpose and a reason, abundance. He's here to be of service and of value to others. It's just a game to him, the amount of money that he makes, but it's all inspired by how can he provide for his family, his community, our country, and even the world. And I will tell you, I get to travel, as you know, with the biggest and the brightest. And what a bonus it was to spend an afternoon with you, conversation, tours, opportunities. My head's still spinning. I wish you would have been there yesterday with Michael Phelps when we launched my new studio, but you got to come back. You're coming in my new studio. We're doing an interview on the playbook at the Win. So you just let me know when to meet you.
Yeah, I saw the studio posted there yesterday and followed it. It looks incredible. I love it. The screen, everything, the whole setup. But yeah, sorry I missed it. I actually, Andy Frisilla came into town, flew in yesterday, and so I had to spend the day with him. I couldn't break away. But yeah.
I get it. He's a force. But anyway, how did you develop that mindset? I mean, you haven't had all success in your life like me. And so you must have learned some lessons through the struggles, through some of the failures, the setbacks and mistakes that you made. You know, what has created the mindset beyond the lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, I think the mindset's continually evolving, right, for all of us. I mean, if we're having experiences and we're learning along the way, but we're not changing and we're not making, altering that mindset and evolving, then really I just feel like that's stupidity. But for me, what I think that something that's really helped me to develop that mindset over time is really just seeing other people. Like, this is the simplest way that I can break it down, and I think it makes sense in its simplicity for just the masses, is that I see people do things, and and this sounds silly, but I just always think to myself, if they can do it, I can do it, or I can do it better. And so even though I was born into circumstances that most would say, well, you don't have the same opportunities as everybody else out there, it would have been easy to adopt that mindset. But the one thing that my parents always gave me, although they didn't give me a lot of resources otherwise, they gave me a strong, strong confidence. They always told me that I could do anything that I wanted to do. And so, anybody that has kids, you guys know how malleable children are. I mean, they come out, and if you tell them that the sky is purple, the sky is purple. And they care about you more than they care about anybody else in the world. And they trust you more than anybody else in the world. And so when you have the opportunity to be able to tell your children that there's something, they believe you. And so I believed my parents that I could do anything. And although, from the outside looking in, it probably would have been a little bit ludicrous to believe some of the things that they told me that I could do, but I did believe it. And so despite some of the other inadequacies or lack of resources, I always had a strong degree of confidence, which led me to that cycle of, okay, I see somebody else doing this, I can do it, or I can do it better. And I mean, it's just that simple. And so you go along, and what happens is you have some wins. And just like I think it was Marie that you had on right before, she's just saying, when you win, you gain confidence. And so I would have a little win, and I'd have a big stretch in the evolution of that mindset and that confidence. And that would just lead into the next. And just like, in sports and everything else, the more you practice, the better you get at it. And so I just continually practiced winning, and then you just become a winner. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and you become that winner because in order to practice winning, you got to lose, and you got to have setbacks and failures, et cetera. And another great Canadian football player like you, my business partner, Warren Moon, he told me, I only want to be a milestone. Because I always said, you're setting the bar for, he said, no, I want to be a milestone. I spent 6 years in Canada because they said that I couldn't play quarterback in the NFL, but I want to be a milestone for all black quarterbacks. So they look at me and say, I'm better than Warren Moon. I've always called myself really approachable and adaptable because I'm such an easy milestone. As people are like, man, if that guy can be successful, I can go way past him. So I'm the perfect milestone for you too. As a milestone, we can be milestone for our own kids. We've learned a lot in sports. You were a professional athlete. You weren't born with the potential of Warren Moon. You were born with greater, hopefully, potential than I was. But you've carried over a lot of the work ethic that I saw when we were walking around. It's more than just a mindset. You also can't just sit around high on your mom's couch dreaming about what you want. You're a Goya guy. You get off your ass early in the morning. You're using your energy all day long, jumping in your plane back and forth. You're just a do it now guy. How important is the work ethic side combined with the mindset of, getting after productivity, accessibility, and gratitude all day long?
It's everything. Like I always tell people the story. Look, I grew up, my dad was the ultimate dreamer. And as a matter of fact, he's probably the best ideas guy I've ever met in my life. And he has an incredible mind for just, ingenuity and creativeness. I don't consider myself to be that guy from a creative standpoint. But what I've learned over time and experience is just simply that ideas are a dime a dozen and execution rules the world. There are graveyards full of good ideas, and they mean very, very little. And so I've never been super creative, but I've been able to see people do something and again say, I could do that better. And I can do it faster, and I can do it more or harder or strong. And so the work ethic and the execution, to me, it's the most important part of the entire equation. And so over time, when you start acting like that, just like every habit in your life, it's just something that you crave. So for me, like, I don't really like weekends or long weekends, especially. Like, I'm excited for Monday. I want to get in and I want to start just hammering out my critical task list for every day, for every week. And really over time, I tell people all the time, like, the most successful people that I know aren't always or necessarily the smartest or the most gifted or the most talented, but they are very persistent. And they just beat that list, whether they write it down or they just have it in their head. They just win the list every day. And day after day, week after week, month after month, that shit just compounds. You become incredibly productive.
Yeah, and it does. It aggregates, compounds, and exponentially grows. Whether you're Milet, Frisella, Wags, Meltzer, Fenster, whoever it is, that's the common denominator, spirit of excellence of the consistent, persistent behavior, and being able to allow people to laugh at you, scoff at you, make fun of you, and still get it done, which is awesome. Now, last question. One of the bigger difficulties that you and I both have is that we didn't grow up with everything. And how do we instill the mindset and the work ethic when we can provide whatever we want to our children? And I know, your girls, for example, are top 10 golfers in the world. They obviously, you're not good at golf unless you know consistent, persistent behavior, and you're not good at golf unless you have a very strong mindset. They have, I mean, that's why I love golf. And that's why I love Tiger Woods, by the way, is that I thought that the work ethic and the mindset of Tiger Woods, to me, was a milestone that I wanted to be able to do. To have that spirit of excellence, holy crap. Like, it just fired me up that someone could be that focused for so long and so consistent. And then he gets to deal with the real lessons of life as he gets older. And it's fun to watch how he utilizes those superpowers. How do we take the superpowers that we've developed and instill them into our children when we can't provide them the greatest lesson that we grew up with, which is we had nothing?
Yeah. It's funny. I get that question, that exact question, so often. Actually, Andy asked me it yesterday. We were driving around, and I was thinking about it. And like I'm broke. like they're still not going to get the same resourcefulness and learn those attributes and qualities that I just had to, because I knew that there was no safety net. And so I can't replicate that. And the people that try to replicate that, it's not going to come across the same with the same authenticity to our kids. Our kids aren't stupid. They're going to figure that stuff out. At some point in your life, the kids I know that grew up with some money, they realize my family's affluent. And so I can't replicate those things. But one thing that I look at and I say, okay, well, you know, I worked really hard. My dad made me push, you know, lawn mow 3 acres every week and da-da-da. Can I do that for my kids? Well, I probably could, but I'm not going to, because although that's good work ethic, is that how I want teach my kids to work? Because my dad taught me how to work hard, but it's not the way I work every day to work smart, right? And it's not the same hard. And so for me, I've tried to adapt that to what do I do in my life? How do I think? What is the mindset? How I approach everything, daily habits, like attitude. Those are the most important foundational things that I'm trying to impress in my kids. And so, yeah, they're not going to go mow the lawn because they'll probably wreck the sprinkler heads, and then it's a pain in the ass for me. And so instead, I'll say, I don't care what you want to do. If you want to be a video gamer, a golfer, a chess player, it doesn't matter. But whatever you do in life, I want you to do it your very best. I want you to give it everything. I want you to map out what your goals are for the ultimate success. And I want you to put in place all of the steps that get there, and then just win those every day. I mean, win, like beat yourself, like beat your lazy ass self, that part of you. Just beat that person every morning, every day. And time over, it always just compounds. And you get to this place where you're able to look back and have this incredible confidence, because like you said, my girls, you know, they don't get excited to go hit 1,000 balls every day by themselves on the golf course. Like, it's not a super fun sport where they got all their friends around and they're kicking balls. And like, that's not what golf is. These girls grind in the wind, in the cold, in the dark, and that's not a fun thing for them. But the confidence that they get when they do that day in, day out, and then they show up at a tournament and kick the shit out of everybody, it's something you can't replace. And that becomes part of your identity. So whether they go on to be world-class golfers or not, it doesn't even matter to me, because they're developing skill sets. They're going to teach them to win in every aspect of life.
You nailed it. And it's so interesting because I'm blessed to be around such great spirits like yourself, Andy, and others. And it's all the same things. I always call it do your best, learn something, and have fun. Yeah. And I think a lot of times successful parents don't remember the last part of it. Right. And so, but we have to identify what having fun is. And if we can teach, you know, our children and other children to enjoy that pursuit part, like how good it feels, you know, that's, I'll finish where we started, right? With Coach Echeverry. I hated him. Like, I literally dreaded every word he pushed me to do, but he taught me to enjoy milestoning myself, plateauing and growing, right? He made it very apparent that he didn't think I could ever make the NFL. He made it very apparent he didn't think I could even play on the team. And he wanted me to show him that I could. He wanted me to learn that. And he does. We, you know, blessed to be around him when I'm older. And he's like, yeah, you finally got it, man. He's like, I personally didn't think you would ever make the NFL, but I knew you were good enough to play for me. But I wanted you to play the best for me. I wanted you to find inside of you stuff that you couldn't find, the Joe DeSena, the Spartan guy that, you know, nobody's ever pushed you like that way. And I knew you had the discipline to do it. And I know he says the same thing about you and the heart and soul that you have. So any last like favorite, you know, one of your favorites, you know, I'm a big one-liner mantra guy. Is there any mantra or one-liner that, you know, on the days where you don't feel 100%, that you give yourself to remind, remember, and recollect that you're on a journey to pursue your potential, to do your best, to learn lessons and have fun?
Yeah. I mean, it probably sounds morbid, but for me, I wake up and realize, like, one day I'm going to die, and we got to live, like, I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid of dying and not doing all the stuff, fulfilling all my potential. And everybody, I think for them, if they just look at it that way, like, at some point I'm going to pass and I want to leave a legacy and I want to fulfill all the potential that I have, that gets me excited in the day. And to me, excitement is your passion.
I love it. Yeah, I love in Coach Carter, that one scene when all the kids are studying, and one kid's just like, Coach, we got shit to do.
Yeah.
We got shit to do today, man. We will continue to do more together. I want to also just personally thank you. I learned so much being with you, and you were a great reminder to me at 53 years old. When you asked me how old I was, I thought you were a little older than 39. I'm like, damn, I got to get better than my lazy self today, because this kid, he is catching it, and I got to catch on fire. I'm not going to let off the gas. So thank you for firing me up. I look forward to seeing you hopefully this weekend at the Avengers.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Thank you for joining me.
Brother, have a great day.
You too. Thanks. Amazing Aaron Wags. The guy is, if you can't pick up on it, Aaron Wags, check him out. Follow him. You will learn the lessons. Jen, Chris, welcome. Jen Gottlieb, Chris Winfield, two of my family and friends. Maria, good to see you as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. 3 unbelievable people on today. I didn't even have my notes, and we pulled it off. I don't know, Jakey Bakey, what happened, but we'll figure it out afterwards. If you want my book, ebook, audiobook, if you want me to sign a book, send it to you, pay for shipping. It is easy. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. I'll pay for it all. Don't worry. I got plenty of rich clients paying for the books to give out to you guys, so thank them. I appreciate you all. Wags is the man. I look forward to seeing you. Everybody, remember most importantly, hey, Chris, remember most importantly, be kind to your future self. Do good deeds. It's that simple. We'll see you tomorrow. It's More Good News Wednesday.